Big changes to Hardcore Robotics lineup have been a big topic for the 2022 year so far in terms of heavyweight division talk, and it's all going to come to the forefront as we are approaching Battlebots Remars All-Stars very quick. We're going to be talking about all of that here at the Combot Collective.
Oh my God! Wow! This is the biggest flame we've ever seen.
Has preserved enough energy to get in the flip on Combot. We're going to go all the way.
这次他都不会把车往前被 KO 了。
Oh my God! That's gonna hurt. Grab the milk, Kenny.
Welcome to the Combot Collective.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Combot Collective, bringing you everything you want to know about the world of robot combat, from the heavyweight class to the fleaweight class, from Battlebots to the live circuit. And we got more Battlebots news for you coming up right now. We're talking about, of course, Hardcore Robotics, Tombstone news, a little bit of old news, but it's something that we haven't had a chance to cover yet. And now that we're coming so close to Remars, and it's like I said at the start of the video, it's really become the forefront of the discussion, talking about Tombstone and its potential matchup here. Of course, we had to talk about it, but if you don't know what we're talking about here, well, all the way back on May 5th, Team Hardcore Robotics and Tombstone captain Ray Billings made his, not really recent, but recent statement on his Facebook page. I have an update on my finger. To those who may not know, I injured my left index finger pretty badly in November of last year. I was wearing gloves when I shouldn't have been and got closer to the table saw than I should have, and the saw caught the edge of the glove and pulled my hand into the saw. The cut went to the bone, but not through it, and I had emergency surgery then to repair severed tendons, blood vessels, and nerves. Well, that surgery was only semi-successful. The finger does get blood flow, so at least the tissue is healthy and the nerve function is returning, although this will almost certainly never be completely normal again either. Biggest problem though is the tendon repair has failed. This will now require multiple surgeries, the first of which was last week. This surgery was to repair the pulley system, with further surgeries later on in the year to reattach tendons. Long story short, I won't have a usable finger on that hand until 2023 at the soonest. This won't stop me from building and competing in robot combat or pretty much anything else really, but I have to admit it does diminish my capabilities for the time being. So for the rest of the year anyway, Justin Billings will be the driver of Tombstone. Justin is a good driver, winning many events with his middleweight mortician, and if I can address some of our issues from last time, I am pretty sure he will do fantastically. So what does this mean for my future? I certainly intend on continuing to build and compete, so don't take this as permanent. I may switch off years with Justin on Tombstone at Battlebots, or I may just simply build a new robot down the road. For now though, I will need to concentrate on getting healthy and giving Justin the opportunity to go shred some bots. So that's coming from Ray Billings a little over a month ago. Now initially we weren't going to be covering this topic, being that's now pushing 2 months old, but now with the 2022 Remars All-Stars event coming up on June 23rd, which we talked about in a prior video, we might have that up here. That event is going to be featuring Tombstone, and you can't help but wonder how these major changes to Robot and to the new driver, Justin Billings, who of course last drove Tombstone, funnily enough, at the Remars All-Stars event in 2019, where Tombstone went 0-1 after suffering a hard loss to Witch Doctor in a revenge match for them. Of course, the roster for this field was revealed earlier on in the month, and the bracket for this field was actually revealed earlier today while I'm recording this, as now all fans know that is going to be Hypershock versus Tombstone in round 1. Interestingly enough, one of the last possible matchup combinations for all the robots who haven't missed a Battlebots competition since 2015. My overall thoughts though on the matchup, we have Tombstone here, and I've been known for overrating Tombstone, especially during the Battlebots season that we've had recently. I had them beating Blip and Jackpot in the playoffs, and I thought they were going to go all the way to the top 8. But that didn't play out at all. In fact, Tombstone had a very rough season, arguably the worst season it's had in Battlebots so far. And now with all these big changes that we'll be talking about more in a little bit here, coming to Tombstone pretty much without their choice, you can't help but worry and wonder a little bit about the stance the robot's going to be in coming into this event. We don't know how Justin Billings, we don't know how much time he's going to get behind the stick of this Tombstone and how much practice he can actually do with a bot that powerful. Well, on the flip end, we have a pretty much unchanged Hypershock. Will Bales and the rest of the Hypershock team, they haven't competed in any other events in any other weight classes since Battlebots 2021. And the Hypershock we saw at Battlebots was a fantastic robot. It dominated the regular season. It probably would have had a lot better of a run, you know, given the Butterfly Phoenix scenario, maybe another matchup. But we know that P1 and Hypershock was a hot topic matchup that was wanted, and ended up being P1 will flip Hypershock, and they ended up leaving the bracket early. We knew though that they are going to be in Bounty Hunters. That's going to be fascinating to see. But here they are. They're going to be taking on Tombstone. Will Bales at the wheel, and I actually think I'm going to go with Hypershock on this one. I think any other time and point I would choose Tombstone fairly easily. With the big meaty tires and a lot of the jagged edges on Hypershock that Tombstone can get a bite in and pull off on. But I think Tombstone has to prove a lot of reliability, capability during this Remars event for them to have any serious stake going into the 2022 Battlebots event. But of course, this has not stopped Ray from working on Tombstone, as we've seen numerous updates on his Facebook page and on the Hardcore Robotics pages about some of the new machinery and electronics going into the 2022-2023 Tombstone. And that does bring us to the 2022 situation. It has been quite curious how we're almost halfway through the year now and we haven't even heard a peep about any potential 2022 season news. There has been some rumors about some of the internal stuff going on with Discovery, maybe changing up how they're presenting themselves over the next couple of years. Hopefully that's not the case, but that kind of rumor does sort of lead into why that's going on and why maybe we haven't seen the Bounty Hunters footage yet. I hope that's not the case, because it's all fairly spooky, and we want our Battlebots on as soon as possible with everything going smoothly. But we're just going to have to see how that plays out, because for all we know, Ray Billings may be perfectly fine, ready to go by the time we have another Battlebots season. So only time will tell on that. But it does bring up the question about some factors if we do end up getting a 2022 season. We know there is the beef, the proper beef between Rick Russ and Ray Billings coming into this year. And would Battlebots be as open to playing into the Swamp Thing Tombstone rivalry if they don't have Ray Billings on the helm to get the proper drama, of course, that they would want with the producers there? It makes you wonder about Swamp Thing's chances and how the butterfly effect may play into all of this here. And of course, you also have the factor of this is Tombstone coming fresh off arguably the worst Battlebots season it's ever had. And now you're dealing with the Ray Billings injury, with Justin Billings now hopping behind Tombstone for the first ever full Battlebots season potentially. There's just a lot of shaky situations going on here on top of all the new tech they've been adding to the robot. Didn't really work out for 2021 Tombstone. It's just another thing we're just going to have to wait and see on. But that's all the Tombstone news we have for you right now. Hardcore Robotics news as well. We're likely going to be talking a little bit more about Tombstone on our Battlebots Remars All-Stars prediction episode, which will be coming just before the Remars All-Stars event goes down the 23rd, hopefully. We will likely have Mr. Redmond on that episode, and you know he always has spicy takes on Hardcore Robotics and Tombstone, so you definitely want to be there for that. That's going to do it for us, though. This has been another news episode here at the Combot Collective. I am Sterling Brown. You can find me on Instagram at SterlingTXTG, and you can find us at the Combot Collective on social media, on Facebook, and on Instagram, and you can join our Discord channel. All that will be in the link below. But here on YouTube, please give us a like, please comment, and subscribe. Give us all the feedback you can. We love it when you do. This has been another Combot Collective news episode, and thank you so much for watching.
This was the Combot Collective. Find us on Instagram and Discord.